Hey guys and girls, I'm going to be doing a reaction video. For this one being 5 mysterious and chilling deaths following alien abductions. This one's by Top 5 Unknowns, and I am going to cut out the last one, so if you want to watch this video in its entirety, the link will be in the description box down below. And yeah, this does sound kind of ominous, if you ask me. So yeah, if you had any random alien encounters, yeah, apparently somebody's using the toilet. Yeah, let's see what these funny ones are. Here we go.
The question of whether aliens are real or not is a common global debate with people desperately in need of proof. The universe, however, is a big place, with over 900 exoplanets outside of our solar system. According to the Planetary Habitability Laboratory, 12 of these are habitable. There could, therefore, be the odds that one of these has a civilized population capable of space travel. Today, we look at 5 people who supposedly died after an encounter with a UFO. Number 5. Todd Sees. Todd Sees, who lived at the foot of Montour Ridge in Northumberland County, is believed to have been abducted and murdered by aliens around this area. In August 2012, he left his home just after 5 a.m.
I guess there's some aliens who are complete douchebags, who probably feel like, they might feel like, let's kill this guy. There's plenty more humans about. I guess some aliens just want to be douchebags.
To go up the mountain and search for pre-season deer, telling his wife he'd be back before noon, but he never made it back. According to the National UFO Reporting Center, a man provided an account of Mr. Todd Sees' death. According to the report, noon came and there was no Todd. His wife and children became concerned, which led to the organization of a search party involving the local police, state police, paramedics, and 200 volunteers. The four-wheeler ATV he left with was found on top of the mountain, 2 miles from his home, packed under a power line. Tracking dogs did not find him or any of his personal belongings. The search continued for 2 days, covering 6 miles of the mountain, and even brought in skin divers to search a pond 200 yards from the Sees' home. He disappeared without a trace. In the evening of the second day, the search party came across something white in an extended bushy area, 25 feet from the pond, in a very isolated part of the forest. They spent 20 minutes clearing the area so they could reach what looked like a body. It was Todd Sees. With an expression of horror on his face, he was emaciated and white. Todd was found wearing only his underclothing, besides being fully dressed when he left home. Within an hour of the discovery, the FBI showed up and took charge. They then began interviewing the local people in the area. 3 farmers on one farm said that they saw a round, bright object above the power line at the time of Mr. Todd's disappearance. The object was silent and didn't move for up to 10 to 15 minutes. It then went up and suddenly stopped. Something was pulled up into the light that immediately shined down, after which it went straight up, hesitated again, and went west over the Susquehanna River and suddenly out of sight. The FBI did not give the victim's family a chance to view the body. They were presented with a sealed, closed casket for burying. They later concluded the course of death was a cocaine overdose, coming as a shock to the family, as Todd wasn't the type of guy who found satisfaction from the use of cocaine. Number 4.
Damn, that's just bonkers. Really bonkers. Sounds like my sister's having troubles with someone she wants to meet. In case anybody's gonna ask in the comments, who's that talking in the background?
Jonathan Levesque. This is one of the earliest reports of human mutilation executed by aliens, witnessed by an Air Force personnel.
Wait, human mutilation? Well, that's the first. Usually you only hear about cattle mutilations, but not human mutilations. Damn.
An Air Force Sergeant, Jonathan Levet, was observed being taken captive aboard what appeared to be a UFO at the White Sand Missile Range in New Mexico. In March 1956, Major Cunningham and Sergeant Levet were out in the field looking for debris from a missile test when his partner witnessed the abduction. Levet went over a ridge of a small sand dune and went out of the sight for some time. Major Cunningham heard him scream in a sound he described as terror and agony. Thinking the sergeant was bitten by a snake or something, he ran over the crest of the dune and witnessed him being dragged into, as he related, a silvery disc-like object hovering in the air at approximately 15 to 20 feet, which then disappeared into the sky very quickly. Major Cunningham then reported the incident, after which he was taken into the White Sands Base Dispensary for observation. Search parties went into the desert looking for Sergeant Levet. 3 days passed when his nude body was discovered at an approximate distance of 10 miles from where he was abducted. The body was found mutilated, with his tongue cut out from the lower portion of the jaw. An incision had been made under the tip of the chin and ran through to the esophagus and larynx. There were also signs of emasculation, and his eyes had been removed. The reports also stated that his rectum and genitalia had been removed as though a plug had been extended through his rectum all the way to the colon.
Okay, that's a wee bit too much information right there. That's I'm okay with horror related stuff, but when it comes to like real life related stuff, then yeah, that's just.
He had been completely drained of blood. Predatory birds in the area were also found within the vicinity, believed to have died after trying to feed on the body. The major was initially charged with murdering his partner, but the charges were later dropped. Number 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if he murdered his colleague, then how the hell would he have gotten those surgical stuff done? Because as I recall, if he did do those, because as I recall, they never said anything about the guy having blood on his uniform when he went and if he had gone and murdered his partner.
João Prestes Filho. On the evening of March 4th, 1946, a farmer died in a hideous manner in Brazil's backcountry. João Prestes Filho was returning home from a day of fishing when he underwent a tragic encounter with strange lights that caused intense burns, making his flesh fall from his bones, leaving the tendons and bones exposed. A real-life match to the incredible melting man. In 1997, UFO investigators Pablo Villarrubia and Claudio Swinaga traveled to the region to reopen the case when they met Filho's first and second nephews, 60-year-old Luis Prestes and 90-year-old Virgilio Alves, respectively, who described to them the tragic incidents that befell their uncle. Luis recalls that he was only 9 when it happened. As it was a carnival week, João loathed such festivals because of the drunkenness and noise, and he therefore decided to go fishing. He came back later in the evening to an empty house as his wife and kids had gone to the festivals. Alves recalls Filho came back from his day of fishing, fed his horse, and heated some water to take a bath. He couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him. He managed to climb through a window, and as soon as he was inside, he suddenly overcame the feeling. He then glanced back onto the window, and what came next led to his unfortunate death. Filho suddenly claimed he was struck by a beam of very intensely hot light coming from a glowing object above. Filho stated he collapsed on his knees with his hands covering his face, feeling like his whole body was on fire, and he could actually feel his short beard burning, with the skin feeling crispy. The burst lasted only a moment before it vanished. Traumatized and in such dreadful condition, he managed to wrap a blanket around his upper body and walked staggering into the night, heading almost 2 miles into Aracaraguama. Other witnesses claimed only his skin was damaged during the whole ordeal. His clothes remained intact, and he continued talking, only with a little trouble using his tongue, without feeling any pain until all the tissues around his mouth and jaws were fully damaged. Number 2.
That sounds really messed up. I do mean really messed up. If this was, if it were supposed to be aliens, then why the fuck would they want to do that for? Yeah, because that's just really messed up, to be honest.
Carl Hunrath and Wilbur Wilkinson. In the 1950s, there was a group of persons known as UFO contactees. They claimed to have been in contact with alien occupants of flying saucers. To some, these communications were telepathic, when to others, they were face-to-face. Most of them made a following through books and lectures. It was during this time when George Adamski, a famous proclaimed contactee, set up a small observatory at a restaurant below the famous Mount Palomar Observatory. By the early 1950s, he was already taking pictures of flying saucers. In 1952, he reported having an encounter with an angelic-looking man from Venus named Orthon. After this encounter, he moved to Los Angeles and attracted quite a number of followers, Hunrath and Wilkinson included. They joined him in an attempt to see the flying saucer. The two men generated an interest in channeling aliens. They met other contactees and used psychic techniques and mechanical contraptions in an attempt to communicate with beings that allegedly lived on the moon. In November of 1953, Hunrath and Wilkinson rented a small plane with only 3 hours of fuel and filed no flight plan with the intent to meet a grounded saucer, which had contacted them physically and would take them to Venus or some off-Earth populated celestial body.
Yeah, sounds like they might have been either goofing on people or the two of them might have had mental health problems, because those are the only two things I can think of, to be honest. But if I had to be honest with you, not.
To this day, no trace of the plane or the two men has ever been found. Number 1. 7 killed Indians by a UFO. On August 20th, 2002, a mysterious flying object was said to have attacked sleeping villagers in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. According to...
Actually, yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. Yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here, to be honest, guys and girls. Because I did say I was going to cut out the last one, so if you want to find out what this last one is, but if you want to find out more about this last one in this countdown video from Top 5 Unknowns, the link to this video, 5 mysterious and chilling deaths following alien abductions, it will be in the description box down below. And yeah, these are just, yeah, I think with number 2, in my opinion, I think those two guys were probably just goofing on people, if I had to be honest with you. Since because if that were true, then why the hell would you want to, because why would you be foolish enough to go and rent out a plane like that with only 3 hours of fuel, knowing full well that you're more than likely not going to be able to meet those people in question? Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, and until next time, goodbye for now.